Want to have the greatest culture in the sports world. Quarterback, you know a thing or two about culture. You love or hate those greatest culture comments?
I love it. I'd want to play for a coach like this. Like you know, the one thing the coach has, especially when he starts the job, is he can control the culture and the off-the-field stuff. Because right now, I mean, it's May 30th. We don't play football for another 100 days or something. So I like what he's doing, and I would say the culture down in Dallas is one of like a wine and cheese crowd. I'm from Dallas, right? Like just from the fans, right? It's you got big-time superstars. The fans, they go, but they don't expect like all these fireworks and stuff. They've been good at home, but the Cowboys have won in the regular season, and I think it was time for a change. I mean, Jerry Jones thought it was a time for a change, and you know, obviously Brian Schottenheimer's never been head coach, but the culture that's set directly reflects a head coach. And in my career, I think like Sean Payton and Andy Reid, right? When I went to Andy Reid in Kansas City, it was his first year coaching. We were 2-14 in 2012, the Chiefs were, before Andy Reid got there. So he had to lay the law down. He had to change everything about that entire organization, and he really empowered the players. And he really, you know, we won. It helped that we won 9 straight that year in 2013 for Andy Reid's first year. But I'm saying this is like the culture that a head coach sets, man. It's hard to match because I've been around some head coaches that focus way too much on X's and O's. And especially now in this day and age, especially with NIL and guys coming out of college, everyone has a brand in that locker room. Like, I look at Nick Sirianni, what he was able to do to hold the culture together in Philly with all these off-the-field stuff. Dallas doesn't have that, right? We can talk about Mike up here on the podcast. But I love it. Like, that's one of the few things, to me, that a head coach can control. Now, will it equate to on-the-field success? I don't know. Yeah. It's impossible to tell right now. But if you're coming in and you're dreaming big, I'm good with it, man.
I want to like it, but as you were talking, I talked myself out of it. The reason is you said something that made me talk myself out of it. I worked for the Cowboys. I worked for the Cowboys for 2 years, 2016, 2017. I didn't play for them. I worked for them. I was in the media department, which means I got to see everything from a bird's eye view. You can see everything. See how the ownership runs it, see how the players practice, see how the media engages. You can see it all. The head coach can't dictate the culture in Dallas. Chase is right. In every other NFL organization except the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones dictates the culture. Chase said something fascinating. He talked about the wine and cheese crowd. That's a Jerry Jones thing. I've said this to y'all before. If you walk into the Cowboys practice facility, you're entered by $1 million worth of chandeliers. Google it. Look it up. It's the Star in Frisco. $1 million of chandeliers. It's completely glass, so you can see when the Cowboys are practicing and when they're not. Why can I, someone who can pay to go visit the Star, see when the Cowboys are practicing? Here was my favorite thing. The first day I showed up to work for the Cowboys, somebody told me this. If you see the helicopter there, Jerry Jones is there. If the helicopter's not there, Jerry Jones is not there.
Different feel, huh?
That's the culture. The culture is that of a bougie, elegant entertainment, not super serious about the toughness of the game of football. But to me, it's Jerry who dictates the culture. In the weight room, it's glass windows, so as you're walking around taking a tour, you can see it. When I played for the Eagles, when I played for the Giants, there were not tours going on during practice. The Cowboys have tours that you can pay for to go on during the course of while the players are at practice. Even Dalton Kincaid, I think the tight end, he talked about it. He said it's like a zoo in Dallas. And the reason he made that suggestion is, you know, when you go to a zoo, you can tap on the glass when you're looking at the different animals. That's what it felt like in Dallas. So as Chase was talking, it reminded me, Schottenheimer, you're well-intended, but you're poorly executed. Jerry Jones will dictate the culture of the Dallas Cowboys more than a coach.
Yeah, I hated it. Whole thing. Whole message.
What?
Yeah, I hated the whole thing.
Why?
First thing, right, it was like, it's your first coaching job. Nobody really knew much about you. You talking about you want to be the greatest head coach. I'm like, what? We ain't even here to talk about that. You here to do a job first. Before we can get to talking about
was asked a question.
It's the way he answered it. I didn't like it.
Okay, there you go. Let's get to
So I hate the whole thing. I still hate the whole thing. Matter who asked the question.
That's the question.
Can I go, bro? Please, God dang. Please. So my issue is with the whole thing I said I hate is because we want to hear the real message. Because the real message is you saying like, okay, you talk about culture, right? Cool. Culture is like, I'm gonna be disciplined, you know, I'm gonna be tough, everything like this, that, you know, cool. But none of that matters if you don't really win. Because you talk about Andy Reid, right? Andy Reid, he set the law down, all that. But if we start out another 4 and whatever it is, like, okay, bro, whatever you preaching, it's not getting here because we're not winning. So all that stuff don't even matter. But when you're winning, That's when you create the culture, because when you win, it's like everything he's saying to do, we're doing it and we're winning, so it makes sense. It got to add up. 1 + 1 got to be 2.
Yeah.
Another thing is, I think about starting a culture is you need a coach to win games and to set the stage correctly for the players, and you need the players to follow suit. So it's like it's a trickle-down effect. Head coach starts everything, goes down to players, to coaches, and then we perform on the field. My thing with the Cowboys is we can talk about all the small things, about the culture, about the all that stuff off the field, and on the field. The truth is, if our leader, our highest paid player, when we get to the big dance, when the lights are bright, and all the messages that you've been preaching, we've been listening to.
How do we know?
And then we get to the game, right, the playoffs, where it matters most, and you've been playing opposite you played all year, how are we supposed to follow that? Because now look at the coach like, well, coach, bro, it's like the 4th year we've been doing this, man. 2 years to the Niners, playoffs, he did his thing, we lost. Okay, then we play a young Packers team, we lose. It's like, eventually I'm gonna look at you like, yo, can I really believe in your message? Because you're saying the same thing the old coach said. He's gone, and we lost.
Yeah.
That's the real truth, though. And I think sometimes when you look at teams and you talk about all this culture stuff, that's like everybody's favorite word nowadays, is culture. Culture really is the players in the locker room taking the message from the coach and then executing out on the field. And those are results. If your leader can't give you the results from the head coach, what are we really talking about? We having words. It's like college again. Everybody just following what the coach say. We need wins, dog. This game is about production. That's why certain players can't come in there. A lot of players, when you talk about the culture thing, like certain players can't even talk about culture because like, yo, I'm not even following you. We follow the leaders. You think the Chiefs, you think they following Jerome John? No. They following Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. And who they get their message from? Andy Reid, a winning coach.
What is culture?
You see what I'm saying?
What is culture to you? You know what I mean? Because I think oftentimes you hear culture, and I'm sure y'all use that word culture. That team has a terrible culture. Shade, you played 12 years in the league. You won 2 Super Bowls, played with Tom, played with Pat, played with different quarterbacks. What's good? What's culture to you?
There's a lot of different definitions for culture, dog. Which culture do you want?
Talking football.
Okay. Appreciate that. Culture really is how a team or franchise operates. So I'll give you a better example, right? Because it's easy to use Andy Reid because how successful he is his whole life. But I go to someone like Sean McDermott, who came from Andy Reid's tree. And I was there when he got there. And his biggest thing was, he brought in all the star players and the leaders of the team. He brought us in the room, right? He said, listen, I can't get to the whole squad unless I get through y'all. I can't get my message across to the whole team unless I get through y'all. So now when you see the elite players, the captains of the team doing everything what the coach wants, that's how you create the culture. And then when you see that starts happening, you see the practice habits are efficient. You see the lunch lady efficient. You see what I'm saying? It's more than the players, it's the whole building. And once Sean McDermott got to Buffalo, the whole thing changed, right? And he needed a quarterback to do that. And then when he had a running back, he had some defensive players, all that. But when the quarterback played at elite level and he got the message from the coach and put that out to the team, that's where you see the difference.
No, that's well said. Culture to me is when everybody is bought into one goal. I played in Green Bay to where they don't care about nothing but football. That's it. So you can walk into the facility at midnight and it's going to be a lady, a man in the kitchen, a chef, and you can say, can you make me some pancakes, please? Because all they care about is doing whatever they got to do to make sure James Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and all that is taking the football field, and how can they have the most success? The grass people. The grass low enough, JJ? You need a little higher. Those are the questions they would ask you. That's Coach. Everybody in the building is chasing one goal. But Coach Mike always used to tell us something. You can have the greatest plan and set the greatest culture, and it ain't going to matter if you ain't winning.
That's why winning matter, bro.
Because if you ain't winning, they don't care nothing about no culture. Do I like it? Yes, because you got to start somewhere as a head coach. You're a new head coach. You got to start somewhere. Culture, mindset, whatever you do, whatever you're talking about. You know, my man Dan Campbell said we biting ankles, we doing all. You got to start somewhere, right? And now everybody is believing this message because they're winning and because of the style of football they playing. So at the end of the day, you got to go out there and win. But I agree with him because you have to start somewhere, man, as a head coach.
I want to ask you this, though. So, your Green Bay days, you played with some great players. Y'all did some great things. You beat us in the playoffs, won the championship and all that. But the message though, the message from when the coach says the whole team meeting, and he says his message, what I want. But when it comes from the Aaron Rodgers
And the Charles Woodson.
It's heard differently.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying?
Even in the losses.
Even in the losses.
You're
So when some things like I try to relate everything, even in my business, I try to relate everything to football. So like when I'm in my meetings and things like that, I gotta be better because I'm the one that's really giving that message out.
Yeah, right.
It don't matter who the head is and all that. It comes from the player that's giving that message. So if Mike McCarthy is trying to get a message out, it's gonna come way easier to the players if Aaron Rodgers said it. Or if Charles, you see what I'm saying? Charles Woodson said.
And not only that, I get where you're trying to go because we always knew C. Wood gonna be C. Wood.
Come on now.
So we always knew when C. Wood spoke. Shut up.
Yeah.
When because we knew they are always gonna deliver. It ain't a game that we step on that football field they're not gonna deliver. So I hear what he's saying with Dak Prescott when you talk about that certain stuff because it is certain players to where like you like,
Bro.
hey, he might not. Hey. JJ show up every now and then, but when he do, we special. But these dudes right here, they gonna show up every time.
And I get that, but the reason why I love it, and I know you like it, is because he's trying to get the players to buy in
You gotta
his
start
way.
somewhere, for sure.
And you have to start somewhere. So he's answering a question, right? If I'm on the team and I'm a star player on the team, Micah or Dak, and I hear him saying, "Oh, we want a crappy culture," I'm like, what? No, you know, like you're never going to say that. I'm sure it absolutely starts. Like that's exactly what Andy Reid did, Sean McDermott did. That's what Sean Payton did. It was like, hey, the messaging needs to be consistent. Everyone works toward the same goal, but it starts with the leadership council of the best players. And then the leadership council of the best teams I've ever been on with Sean Payton and Andy Reid, it's a player-led accountability team. Meaning the players are being like, hold up, no, you didn't do that right. It's not the coach checking you. Hey, run that route at 10 yards. It's Mahomes or stuff like that. So I do think that Dak has that about him. Now, eventually, it has to turn into be like, well, you got to win some playoff games. And I do think it's like, I don't think the culture is an issue. I do think it's a different culture down there because maybe it's not always been about football.
Correct.
It's been about making money. Jerry's one of the greatest businessmen ever. And he's taken the Cowboys to what they are today. He still owns just the apparel rights, which is crazy to me. But I do think that maybe this is the start of, hey, let's get back to football. We haven't won a championship in 36 years. Obviously, money in that is always going to be the top, but I do think the messaging for them, at least it's a good start. I mean, it's May 30th.
Don't y'all think, though, it might be too hard to fix the Cowboys culture because it's already broken? What I mean is, if you want to talk about what James said and what Shady said, what Chase has said is, hey, it needs to be all about football. That was the Packers way. That was the Packers mantra, et cetera. In Dallas, it's all about so much stuff. One, Dallas is a significantly larger market than the likes of Green Bay, Wisconsin, than the likes of Buffalo. It's a gigantic market. But also, there's so much player empowerment now. Shout out to y'all, the players, that it's probably harder to say, hey, Micah, make it all about football. Because Micah needs to make it about Micah, too, now. He got family, he got kids, he got friends, he got to support his next generation. So for Micah, it might be about football, but it also might be about this podcast, and it might be about that TV show, and it might be about that next business venture. For Dak Prescott, it might be about this podcast, it might be about this. For CeeDee Lamb, it might be about shooting that music video after the game with Trayvon Diggs. Like, can it be all about football in Dallas? And even in 2025, when in Dallas it's all about your life after football as well.
See, I hear that part of it, but then my thing is, they ain't just create the wheel though. The Cowboys been popping. Back in the day, it wasn't social media, but we all knew the Cowboys was doing other stuff other than playing football.
Right.
You know why that didn't matter though?
They was winning.
Because they was winning. You get what I'm saying? And think what you want to think about Trey Aikman or Emmitt Smith or all that, but they held them boys accountable. Yeah, Mike Irvin, because if y'all know if you know, cool, Mike. Well, Mike, you know, he talk about having a good time. We're gonna have a good time outside, but when we here, we locked in and we winning games. So now when Jimmy's having that meeting and he's talking that, yo, Deion gonna carry that message out, Mike gonna carry it out, Emmett, Troy gonna carry it out. So now when you talk about culture, because culture can just be words. Dak, it's only words so you go out there and you produce. So now everything you said in that meeting, I see on the field. You want discipline, you want dog, you want execution. Okay, you say that because the practice field, you're doing it. Never go to the field, you're doing it. My thing is, if you got this message to your team, but your main player ain't carrying it out on the field, now it's like culture, there's no real belief. I don't believe in your culture because your main captain you got out there ain't carrying it. You get what I'm saying? It's like if Aaron was doing it, you're like, man, you ain't even, come on, man. But when you carrying a certain way and you actually, the things he's saying you doing on that field, it makes everybody have faith and hope and belief.
And I know we got to go to break too, though, real quick, though. But another one, though, besides the quarterback, is the owner. Yeah. And sometimes you got to stay out of the way. It needs to be one message. You know what I mean? So whatever the message is, it needs to be one. I don't even know the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs. You play for the Kansas City Chiefs. But when Andy Reid say something, Hunt don't come behind him and say other stuff. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or if you do hear Hunt talk, you're like, damn, that sounds like Andy Reid. Like he doing the same message Andy Reid is doing.
But why do you think that is? Why do you think that is, though?
I don't know.
No, but just think about it. Like, Andy Reid, whatever he says.
Well, I mean, he's winning.
But that's what I'm saying. So
some owners have never been, like, Clark's never been, like, in the football.
I'm just saying, like, when you handle your business a certain way, you can talk a certain way. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
What do you guys think is holding the Cowboys back then? You would say Dak. You were saying maybe it's been
the only person holding
years.
them back is Dak.
But I'm saying, what about when Romo was there? What about when, like, after they haven't won it in 35 years?
That's when you
can't say that, bro. I can't
over
say
35 years. What do you think the biggest issue is for them not winning? Like, is it just quarterback play, or is it like every?
Romo team won like this. Real quick though, because it's like, and I'm not. It's like when we speak about Cowboys, you think I'm picking at Dak, and I'm really not.
No,
I'm really not.
You can say Dak the last 9 years, but I'm saying like the other 20.
I'm just saying. Well, it's hard to win. First of all, it's hard to win in this league.
Yeah.
Let's get that straight.
Correct.
Okay, for one.
But it's the longest drought.
For two, all I'm saying is that when I played Romo was good. Romo was better than Dak.
Yeah.
But he didn't have that type of squad. For the last couple of years, the Cowboys had a top 3 roster on both sides of the ball that y'all don't give Jerry credit for.
Of course.
Come on, that matters.
But like we got. I mean, that's a fascinating question to me because I'm from Dallas. I'm like, man, I remember when they were amazing, and Aikman was a great quarterback, but it wasn't like putting up all these crazy stats. He won a lot of Super Bowls because I watched him, but it's like, man, they haven't been back for 35 years. Almost everyone in the NFC has at least been back to one. Except the Cowboys.
But there's some teams though that
30 years
was good, right? Back in the day that just got good again, like the Bills.
Yeah, the Commanders.
Well, the Lions.
There's a lot of teams like that. It's just that the Cowboys is such a big brand that we only talk about them. But it's a lot of teams that wasn't really.
It's been so.
You know what I'm saying?
But not only that though, the Cowboys in the biggest games ain't been playing their best. That's for 30 years. That's it. Tony Romo in the playoffs, not good. Yeah. Dak Prescott in the playoffs, not good. And you can say some of the defensive performance, not good. But over the last 30 years, when we are in meaningful games in the playoffs, we not good. It's fumbled snaps on the PAT. It's all type of funny stuff. It's throwing interceptions. They ain't been their best.
So that's what I'm saying. You can't guard.
What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.